All right. Today is April 12th, 2021. Welcome back to episode number 12 on the Top Trades Futures YouTube channel, where I am trading my live scalping strategy with you guys on the S&P 500 futures. It's another great week. We know that means it's another great opportunity for us to take the trades that we want to, for us to look for all of our setups. I hope you guys had a good weekend. You got your back testing done, you handled your business, and you're ready to come into today's session and this week with open minds, confidence, ready to execute. I know I'll be ready and doing the same. So let's go ahead. Let's get straight into it, man. As we can see, first thing we see today is Bitcoin. Bitcoin has broken 60,000. It's looking good over here in this department. But if we have time, we'll come back to that. But we want to focus mainly on the S&P 500 today. So since it's the beginning of a new week, let's go ahead and start our analysis by looking and analyzing the weekly chart. Now on the weekly chart, as we can see, we had a huge drop back during the pandemic in 2020. But ever since that point of March 2020 last year, we've made higher highs and higher lows continuously. We've broken past what used to be the all-time highs back from February of 2020. And since that point, we've been continuing to move higher and making new all-time highs along the way as we do so. So last week, the uptrend continued. We had a nice move to the upside. We finally broke above 4,100 on the S&P 500. The first time we've ever traded at those levels. So that's definitely important and something we should keep our eyes on. On the daily chart, we can see that, yes, last week we had an initial gap up and then prices just ran up from that point. Now, today's candle is represented by this little red doji, but the U.S. session hasn't opened yet, so we don't even want to analyze the daily candle yet. We'll do that on another day after that candle actually forms. But what I want to look at is the hourly candle, because this will give us the best ideas for what we want to do going forward throughout this morning session. So in an uptrend, one of the things that you want to look for is you want to look for consistent market structure. And here's what that means. When the market is moving upwards, you should see higher highs and higher lows. Now, when higher lows are made, they usually come back and get made at areas that used to be previous highs. So if we look at our chart and we follow this price right here at 4,100, notice how this was a high area, right? Then prices pull back. Eventually, prices broke above that level, right, and made a new high. So when they pull back and make a higher low, they should pull back to the area that used to be the previous high. And that's exactly what we've seen in this situation. As we can see, we had a nice, huge up move going into the close on Friday. And then we pulled back all the way back down to 4,100, retested these levels, and are on our way back up. So for me, I'm looking for movement back up to 4,120. If we can get that, I'll be happy. We're not too far away from that right now. We're only about 6 points away. So based on what we're seeing right now, the chart looks good. It looks like we could have a nice uptrend today. So hopefully that's the case. But at the same time, you never want to just completely stick to one side. You always want to consider what the sellers or the short sellers may be seeing. So let's go back to the hourly real quick. Yeah, man, it's not too many signs on the chart for the sellers right now. So I would say if we broke down below 4105, then the sellers would probably have something to look forward to. But until then, it's hard to argue the short side. So we'll keep our eyes on the long side today, but we'll never ignore the other side. If things change, we'll change our opinion as well. But yeah, man, overall, I mean, just looking at the 15, it's a beautiful uptrend. So that's a good thing for us, because I know a lot of times last week and the week before, we came into some choppy markets where we could argue both sides, and we really had to play both sides throughout the day and see which direction the market wanted to go. But today is different. Maybe it's the turn of a new leaf in the market where the consolidation trending markets are over and the consolidation markets are over and we get back to trending like we should. But we'll see what happens. I think we have a very good possibility of today being the day. So let's not get too excited, but things are looking good so far. Let's go ahead and break it down to the 5-minute chart. So if we know that the trend is long, we need to find areas where we can enter, and we want to do that from lower prices. So what we need to do is look to the left and find areas that could potentially be support levels. So let's go ahead and draw us a little trend line across these bottoms. We could honestly really make a channel out of this. So let's go ahead and clone this one. Lines up perfectly. So when prices come back down to the bottom of the channel, all we need to do is go long. So those prices are located somewhere between 41.12 and 41.14, which is not too far away from where we're at right now, only about 2 points away. So we'll keep that in mind. But it's honestly not too many clear-cut levels that I would like to go long from. So we need to find more. Now this area right here sticks out to me, this little consolidation sideways pattern, mainly because the market was trending up until that point, and then every time, for the time period after that point, it started back trending again, right? But this area from 41.10 to 41.06 was just very interesting. So maybe that can be something that we look for, but I would say ultimately best prices will be at 41.04. So if we see prices come back down, test the 4100 level, oh yeah, we can definitely make some great profits. But we'll see how the market opens though. Very interesting. And also remember that we are trading towards all-time highs. So all we need to do is break 41.21. We're at new all-time highs once again, just like we were on Friday. But in the meantime, in between time, let's go ahead and look at dollar Swiss. And then if we have time, we'll come back to Bitcoin. Dollar Swiss. Yeah, the downtrend is continuing. Let's pull it out to the daily chart. Now, I was telling you guys that, let me pull up my support and resistance. I'm looking for the potential head and shoulders. We already have our head that was formed. We have our left shoulder that was formed. So I was expecting that buyers were able to hold up support at these levels, push prices back higher into the zone where we can look for our short trade. But you can't ignore the selling pressure in the market right now, because when you break it down to the lower time frames, we're still continuing to make lower lows and lower highs. So based on that analysis, we really should expect prices to come back, maybe test 92.50 or 92.75. And then we'll see prices continue down and see the downtrend continue. So now that we have a little bit more time, got about 6 minutes left, let's analyze Bitcoin. I am long on this one. I got long at around, there it is, 55,000. So doing decent for right now. I'm looking to take it up to 70,000. Now I'm not sure how long that would take, but I'm in it for the long haul. I'm not tripping on this one in terms of trading. This is more of a swing trade for me and not a day trade. But let's go ahead and start from the daily chart, because what I want to point out is the fact that we have made a flag. So let me pull up my things for you guys. So this was the initial flag. We had the initial move to the upside, impulsive move. From that point, we formed a pennant. We never were able to break out of it. We found support at those levels. So that tells us that the market is holding up at those areas. And that's what we like to see, because that tells us that the buyers are still in the market and they still are holding this thing up. And notice how prices came up, they made a higher low, right? So that's another good thing that we like to see in the market that aligns with the overall market structure of what an uptrend is supposed to represent. And also notice, if we take all of this away, if you were able to follow the crosshairs from here all the way over, we notice that this level in its entirety holds up as support, and it has done so before. So it's no surprise that it's done so on this occasion as well. Now also, we've broken above 60,000, which I mentioned earlier, which is a major psychological resistance level that we failed to break past for a good little while. We haven't been able to get back up to those prices since March 18th. We tried once again on April 2nd at the beginning of the month, wasn't able to do it quite as well as we wanted to, and we're finally pushing back up to those prices. So we're at 60,300 right now. In my opinion, it's not completely confirmed that we do want to break above it. Now we're closing above it. That's a good sign. Now we just need to stay above it and hold that level of support up. That's all we need to see, and then we can definitely expect higher prices in the future. We break it down to the 4 hour. Let's see. Pretty much the same scenario. Only thing is we're running into a little bit of a double top right now. So buyers beware. There could be a little bit of a pullback coming. I would say if you're looking to get in right now, the best area for you would be 59,000. What's that? 450. So keep that level in mind. That should be important throughout this week for sure. And for all my Dogecoin traders out there, I know you guys are very happy. Dogecoin is up a considerable amount. Let's see how much. So from April 4th to yesterday's high, Dogecoin was up by 43%. So all my traders of Doge, I hope you cashed out on that one. But yep, that's about it. I think that covers it all. We did S&P 500, we did dollar Swiss and Bitcoin. So we'll go ahead, bring up our platform. Today we will be trading live, trying to work our way in this market with these S&P futures and handle our business, man. Overall, my risk limits, I don't want to lose more than $36, which for me is about 3 trades. So 3 losses and I have to call it a day. And I'm looking to catch about anywhere from 5 to 10 points today. That's my overall goal. And in specific, my main goal today is to make sure that my first trade is a positive trade and that I hold my best trades until the market tells me to get out of them, not to a necessarily specified predetermined target. But I also want to analyze the market and make sure that the volume aligns with the movement that I'm trying to see in the market. Let's check the chat really quick. All right. All right, we have about 1 minute until the market opens. Let's make sure that we have everything we need. Let's get our minds right. Let's get focused. Let's start the week off the right way, man. Let's get me out of the way. Yeah, so it seems like so far we're seeing a little bit of resistance up towards the top area at 4170 towards the market structure top for right now. So remember, the best prices that we can find that we talked about earlier, 4105, 4104, somewhere around that area. But we're trading in a very small range today. We're trading between 117 and 104. So only a 13-point range between the high and the low for the day. Very interesting. But it is 9:30 and the market is open for business. Let's go ahead and break it down to the 1 minute. Let's analyze the Dow Jones real quick. The Dow Jones and the S&P should move in a very similar fashion. The correlation is very strong. Technology moving down. All right. So let's just be patient and see what we can get on the good old S&P futures. So if I'm looking for a long trade, I would honestly have to wait until prices start trending and making higher highs and higher lows once again. Once we see those two things start to form, then that'll give us the signal to go ahead and start trying to set up for our long trades. But right now, we just want to sit back. We want to analyze, because usually when the market opens, it's a big battle between buyers and sellers where they try and determine which way prices will move for the rest of the session. So all we have to do as traders is sit back, analyze what happens, observe what's going on in the market, identify the direction that the buyers or the sellers want to take it, and then we just simply ride the trend and take advantage of the opportunity in front of us. That's it. So far we're seeing a little bit of bullish support down here at 41.12. We saw bulls step in, push prices up to 41.15. Now we just need to see them continue to do so. Now that they've kind of pushed up a little bit, they have a potential to make a higher low depending on how this candle right here closes. So let's see how that plays out. At the beginning of the week, you always want to allow the market time, because think about it. People haven't been trading since Friday afternoon. They've had 2 days to sit back, analyze charts, analyze news, analyze fundamentals, and sit back and say, how do I feel about the market? And then on Monday morning, everybody comes in with all the ideas that they had over the weekend and they place orders. And all we have to do is sit back and figure out which way the market is going to move. And then we hop in. But you could get burned very easily trying to hop in too early. That's the thing about it. You always want to be patient. Patience is a key value in these markets. You have to have it, or else the market will destroy you piece by piece, trade by trade. All right, I think that's our higher low right there. So let's see if we can get an order down here at 14.25. Now, the reason I put my order right here was because if you look at the structure of these wicks, it looks like a scenario where the market just wants to make one little impulsive move up, and I want to be able to capitalize off of that. But of course, you never want to buy it at the highest prices, so I put my order just a little bit below at 14.25. I put it in the area where the chances of it getting hit are lower, but if it does get hit, the chances of me making profits on it are higher. So that's what I like to go for in the markets. Only about 2 ticks away from our order being filled, so let's see if we can get that order. 1 tick away. Come on, market. Come on now. Nope. Took off without us. All right, so let's kind of move our order up a little bit. Should I? I should. Now, you know what? I'll keep my order right here at 14.25. If I don't get it, I just don't get it. It's no trip. It's no tripping. It's no rush. We have 6 hours and 30 minutes to trade this market. It's no reason to kind of, put pressure on yourself to take entries if you don't want them. Put your entries where you like them. If you get them, you get them. If you don't, you don't. You just wait for the next opportunity. Based on what we're seeing today, it should be plenty of opportunities on the upside, so we won't trip over missing that trade. Now, typically, I'm the trader that likes to look for a pullback to hop in, but when I see a momentum move, sometimes I just go long anyway, just to capitalize off of it. And what we're seeing right now is a momentum move. Notice how all of these wicks are higher than the previous ones before it, as well as the closes for all of the bodies. So that indicates bullish momentum, and eventually the bulls will come in with a huge candle that'll push prices higher, which should give us a new daily high. But hopefully we can see prices pull back first, get us in at 14.5, and then we'll be able to take that back up to 41.19 and get 5 points out of that. All right, that's our impulsive up move right there. We should break out to new daily highs, or at least try to. We see volume picking up a little bit. That's a good thing. Trying to figure out the next area I want to get the pullback from. So we could look at 1575 or 1550. So let's see if we can get those orders. But first, we want to make sure this candle doesn't result in a bearish engulfing. That's not what we want to see. Not at all. As we can see, the Dow Jones is also making a very nice up move. For all my Dow Jones traders, if you're looking to trade this, I would say the best level to get in would probably be 33,650 if you can catch it. So we should definitely expect some type of resistance at the market structure daily highs and all-time highs at 41.25. So hopefully we can catch the pullback from that level, and that'll be sufficient for us. All right, so what I want to do is move my order up to the last high. That's where prices should pull back to. That level is located at 41.17. So we'll go ahead and move our order up to that level. Actually, we'll make it 17.25 just to get an even better entry. All right, here we go. Our order is filled at 17.25. Looking to take it up to 22.25. Have our stop 2 points below at 15.25. So we're risking 2 in order to get 5. Well, looks like we might get stopped out on this trade. The sellers do have a little bit of momentum right now. So it looks like the buyers are trying to hammer out a bottom. That will be confirmed if we see prices break back above our entry point at 17 and a quarter. So far, they're playing around that 17 level. Until they break back above it, we really need to be a little cautious. Let's check the 5-minute chart. You always want to make sure you flash back to your higher time frames to make sure that you're getting the full picture of the market and that you're not trading on a small scale or a small frame of mind. You always want to keep everything in perspective, both on the short term and on the long term, because you want to get the entire picture. I like what I see on the 5, and I like what I see on the 1. We just need to stay above our entry point, and we also need to stay above these lows that we made. As long as we do that, we should be good, because this right here is technically a higher low. Now, as long as we don't break past that higher low, the uptrend is still intact and it is active. So it really depends on how this candle that we're on right now closes, because right now we're in a shaky position where we could either be making a higher low or a lower high, because if we don't break past this point up here at 17, really at 41.18, then we technically have made a lower high, right? So how we close right now will be very important for sure. So it looks like the sellers have a little bit of strength at this junction that we're at right now. They have created a lower high. Now let's see if the buyers can undo that, or if the sellers are going to continue to push the market lower, which more than likely they probably will. But since the overall trend is up, I'll hold on to this long trade, because I like the order entry, the prices that I was able to get in at. Let's just see if it can play out and work for us in our favor. If not, we'll look for our next opportunity. I'm eyeing this level down here, because I feel like if prices come back to this level, find support, that would be a higher low in comparison to where they came from back here right before the market opened. So that could be a secondary entry point for us if this one doesn't work out. It's a slow moving market so far today. So it looks like what we were encountering last week probably won't change, at least based on what we're seeing so far today. Looks like another slow week could be on our hands. All right, first trade of the day did result in a loss. Ended up getting stopped out at 15.25. So let's reevaluate. Looks like those lower highs did come back to get us. So it looks like we might come all the way back down to where we started from. So let's go ahead and put an order right there just to catch a little quick scalp if we can. All right, there we go. Order filled at 12.25. We just want a quick scalp off of this one, not too much, not expecting everything. Maybe I might have been a little bit too early on that move. Definitely don't want to start the session off by taking 2 losses. That's not good. All right, so right now I'm being a little bit too aggressive. I need to chill out, be patient. Buyers are not in the market right now. So we need to wait for higher highs and higher lows. But until then, We'll just try and capitalize off the short move. So we'll start looking for lower highs. That is located at 41.12. So we should look for prices to come back to those levels and see if we can get a short trade from that area. All right, we caught the lower high at 10.5. So let's see if we can get prices to continue moving down from those levels. You know what? I don't like this trade, so I'm gonna just cut that one. I initially wanted it at 12, so that's what I'll wait for. Because one thing I don't want to do is short into a long tail candle wick where I'm seeing bullish momentum or continuation after that long tail candle wick. That is one of the most bullish signs in the market that you can see, especially coming off of exhaustion volume. So what I like to do in those situations is wait for sellers to step back in, and then I take the sell. I was a little bit too early on that one. And if there's anything I learned from my previous 2 losses, is that I need to be a tad bit more patient. Let the sides of the market shake themselves out before I try and get in and ride the wave. Okay, sellers are starting to step back in. All right, so we'll hop back in. All right, so let's let this one ride. If we do take a loss, we'll go ahead and call it a day. We don't want to push it too hard, especially not on a Monday. I know on Mondays I typically tend to be a little bit excited, so I have to keep myself in check and be my own trading coach. Take myself out the game if I'm messing up. Yeah, you guys, it's just a slow market today, man. Not much to do except for place your orders and then just let it ride, man. So yeah, it's one of them. It's one of those days. Let's see what's going on elsewhere. This chart is putting me to sleep. Let's see what's going on with Apple. Apple, my baby. Ooh. Taking a rough one today, taking it on the chin. ARKK, struggling a little bit for sure. Anything making any big moves today? GameStop down 8%. Any big moves? Plug Power down 6%. Yeah, not anything big today. Zoom is down 2%. Tesla is up, trying to break 700. Not quite there yet. Still has a little bit of room to go. Tilray down 11%. I mean, that's an ugly looking chart anyway if you're on the long side. I don't know about that one. All right, so my trade did get stopped out. So that's 3 losses for me, man. I want to stick to my loss limits, call it a day. There is always light at the end of the tunnel tomorrow, so we'll pick back up. Actually, not tomorrow or Wednesday. I have to take those days off, but on Thursday, we'll be back live in the mix, in the lab, ready to get it done and handle business. But appreciate you guys for tuning in so far. Good Monday. Took some losses, but that's part of the game. We'll keep it moving. Make sure you guys stay patient out there, trade the right way, and trade